not play 70 tackles, 20 plus more than anybody else. Iowa gets it first, and we will see the sophomore quarterback Nate Stanley, but his key behind him is Akrum Wadley. 7 total touchdowns to lead the team, 483 rushing yards, and one of the keys for Iowa is to keep him from overloading himself in terms of usage.
Yeah, it's all about the workload, and they would prefer to have somewhere between 18 to 25 touches, which includes his ability out of the backfield catching the football. So we'll have to keep an eye on that for sure.
Stanley, the sophomore quarterback, with Wadley in the eye, and a throw on first down for Nate Stanley. Incomplete for Easley. Second down as we check in with Chris Button.
Yeah, you guys mentioned the limited touches for Akrum Wadley, hoping somewhere between that 18 to 25, but that's hard with James Butler also out with injury, so they'll have to rely on a couple freshmen behind him. It's funny, an article earlier this week compared Wadley to a Tesla. I said, what do you think about that? I said, what's a Tesla? I said, a car, a nice one.
Well, he's learning automotively, but certainly a key player for the Hawkeyes as Nick Easley makes the catch for a gain of 6, third down Iowa.
And so what Iowa wants to do offensively is it's all about the zone run scheme you hear so much of, and they're very good at it in Iowa City and have been actually for decades. But it's the quick passing game out on the edges where there's room, and we've already seen that today. Brian Ferentz, the play caller, said that they have to take advantage on the perimeter.
Northwestern's had a difficult time getting off the field on third down defensively. Stanley, a deep ball, and that's an accurate one for Easley into Northwestern territory. So for Nate Stanley, who's had trouble with the deep ball, he hits for 26.
And Stanley has free reign to do just this. Easley is matched up on Mayo outside. It's just simply a release outside, get on top of the defender, and then a perfect over-the-shoulder throw by Nate Stanley,
who has only targeted Easley so far. The guy he's most comfortable with. That is Easley in motion. And Akrum Wadley on the run with a cut inside. And a flag in late behind the play. Brett Walsh, the senior out of California, made the stop, and we'll check the marker with referee Don Willard.
And the center, James Daniels, was out on the perimeter, but that flag came in way late after that run.
Holding. Offense, number 77, 10-yard penalty. Repeat, first down.
It's the redshirt freshman left tackle, Alaric Jackson, who they really like.
They really like Jackson at that left tackle position, but this is an offensive line that they're trying to get settled in. They've had some injuries. Ike Butker is out. We saw him against Iowa State, and he's out for the year, and an Achilles injury. And then Wirfs is that true freshman right tackle that's getting settled in with 4 other guys up front that look really, really sharp.
If there's anybody who can coach a line, it is Kirk Ferentz. As Stanley goes to his tight end, it's TJ Hawkinson on that catch. Kirk Ferentz has 5 former Hawkeyes playing tackle right now in the NFL.
Yeah, and he obviously knows how to coach the offensive line. And then Brian Ferentz, who's the play caller now, the offensive coordinator for Iowa, he is one of those former offensive linemen in Iowa City, and that's what you see. The core of what Iowa does is that run game, but it's Nate Stanley getting much sharper in the pass game.
Second down run, and that nearly went for the whole thing as Hardage made the tackle after a gain of 8. But the offensive line, you talked about it, shape-shifting somewhat. There are some big numbers in terms of career starts with Welsh, but everybody else is relatively new.
Well, Daniels was the center, and he was out for game 1, so Render went over and played center, and then Butker got hurt at right tackle, so they moved Welsh, a right guard, out there, and he was an average tackle, but is a great guard. So now they're trying to work the true freshman Wirfs in to try to find the best 5 guys on that line of scrimmage.
Wadley is going to be about half a yard short, so 4th down for Iowa in a spot that Pat Fitzgerald calls the alumni zone, because you never make the right decision for the alumni.
Yeah, well, the right decision for Iowa is the run game, and Wadley behind that offensive line that we just described. They're getting better fits up front. Continuity is always king on the line of scrimmage, and Iowa is discovering that as we speak.
Kulik, the fullback, Wadley, the tailback. Akram Wadley dives forward. This is going to be very close.
He didn't need much.
Walsh made the stop. Let's see. That is a first down, Iowa. So the Hawkeyes are now 9 for 11 on 4th down this year.
And Wadley is very good in those type of situations. He is elusive at the point of attack. Even a free defender, he can a lot of times make a miss and get something, and that's all he needed to convert right there and move the chains.
All Wadley in the backfield so far. What agility. His feet continue to move, don't they?
Yeah, they move on contact, but they also move in the hole. And Brian Ferentz told us that. He thought that they would do a good job of blocking up front in the middle of that zone scheme, but it would be up to Wadley to keep an eye on the back door and try to get there. And that's what we've already seen a couple of times on that zone scheme. It starts one way, and Wadley's ability to jump cut and get back to the back door.
As we told you, Wadley might come off a little bit. Torrin Young is the new running back, and this one's incomplete for Vandenberg. So 3rd down for Iowa.
And Jay, if we're talking about Northwestern's defense, this is the down and distance where you have to find a way to get off the field. This is probably a pass down, and this is where Northwestern wants to funnel Iowa. Compete with that run game on 1st and 2nd down, getting 3rd and a pass down, and then try to cover and get some pressure to move the feet of Nate Stanley.
Northwestern's defense on the field for a 10th play of this drive. Stanley on 3rd down. Had time and missed his mark. Incomplete for Young. And 4th down. Iowa does have a pretty accomplished kicking game so far this year with Miguel Racinos, but Stanley's staying on.
Interesting call right here. I think you're right. Iowa appears to be going for it on 4th and 5, but look for the hard count right here. Stanley has done that a few times this season. Get to the line of scrimmage, a hard count. Northwestern has to hold their water on the line of scrimmage.
Wadley back in. 4th down. Stanley for Wadley out of the backfield, incomplete. Nate Hall helped dislodge it, and Northwestern does get off the field. So Clayton Thorson, the junior quarterback, leads his offense out, and he will throw on 1st down. He hits Bennett Skoranek, his sophomore, for a 1st down at the 39. But Justin Jackson, leading rusher at Northwestern.
Yeah, and he catches the ball out of the backfield as well, but he is a pounder. He's a workhorse, almost 1,000 attempts in his career already. They're going to use him as much as they possibly can today.
Here's his first touch, and he is knocked down by Bo Bowers. So without Josie Jewell, this Iowa defense changes things. Ben Neiman goes to the middle linebacker spot. Kevin Ward comes up to play outside, and that may affect Jackson in a positive way.
Yeah, and why it matters is I think Iowa defensively would like to stay with their base 3 linebackers, but with Jewell out, that may change a bit.
Thorson to throw. He goes wide to Macon Wilson. 3rd down as we check in with Chris Button.
Well, Kirk Ferentz told me before the game that Jewell didn't re-injure the shoulder. It's the same injury he suffered against Illinois 2 weeks ago. They were just crossing their fingers, hoping it would get better. We spoke to Josie on Tuesday, and he told you and I, Jason, that he was good to go.
Yeah, he sounded ready to go, but not so today. So Iowa plays without a guy who's just been everywhere on the film, especially against Penn State recently. Thorson on 3rd down, and that is nearly intercepted. Would have been his 10th pick of the year that Josh Jackson got a hand on. So 4th down, Wildcats.
And Northwestern's favorite run play, as we have a flag down on the field, their favorite pass play is a mesh route, those crossing routes, and Josh Jackson got underneath the crosser on that one.
So this is going the wrong way for the Wildcats.
Pass interference, offense number 2. That penalty's declined. Result of the play, 4th down.
And Nagel was one of those crossers, and that's what they do. They mesh. They literally try to rub shoulders, and the intention is for Flint or Nagel to rub off the defender of one of the crossers, and Jackson didn't buy it, knocked down, but you can't interfere that way, and it's offensive pass interference.
Do you think all those crossers causes trouble for Iowa without Josie Jewell?
I think it certainly could be amplified. There isn't any question because of the communication at that second level that's necessary.
Hunter Nicewander off the punt.
Heard about that incessantly in our time here.
Iowa gets it back on first down. Akram Wadley. Short gain. Chris Cotter.
Wadley on the rush. Tackled by Kyle Cairo. Gain of 2 to the 12-yard line. 2nd and 8.
Great name, terrible pass. Anybody ever say that about you?
No, not the terrible pass part, for sure.
Never said great name?
No, I don't think so.
Come on.
No, I don't think I ever heard that.
Second down, Wadley straight up the middle, breaks a tackle. Akram Wadley to the 35 on a dandy of a run for Iowa, tackled by Hardage.
It's all about hatting them up front in that zone scheme, and then Wadley has the feet and the vision to find the softness, and you can see those defensive linemen for Northwestern get pushed sideways. It creates creases on that line of scrimmage, and then Wadley is so adept at getting to those soft places on the line of scrimmage.
He's now 9th all-time at Iowa in rushing yards, just passing Ronnie Harmon, whose tape he watched, thanks to a tip from Kirk Ferentz. Stanley off play action with a line drive for a first down to Noah Fant, his tight end.
And Noah Fant is that guy that from a tight end position, but with a lot of wide receiver type skill set, he's making up for a lack of depth at the wide receiver position. And you can see Nate Stanley getting comfortable with Noah Fant. It's a matchup issue for everybody, including the coverage for Northwestern here today.
See a lot of zone run and play action work for Iowa. They go running there. Let's see what the playbook is stuffed with for the Hawkeyes.
If you see the zone run, you have to have a zone run protector, and it's the G run. You're going to see the look of a zone run to the right, and then the guard from the right is Gene or pulling back to the left, and that's where Wadley's going to go. It's a protector of that zone scheme. Present zone right, and actually you're running the ball with a power scheme to the left.
Stanley to throw, and that is caught. Matt Vandenberg with a defender flashing in front of him. He has an Iowa first down.
Ooh, that was a tight window, and that's where I already see the improvement out of Nate Stanley. We had him in week 2 in their rivalry game in Ames, Iowa, and Stanley looked good in the end. He got him through it. But right now, he just looks so much more confident. When he makes the decision, he pulls the trigger and doesn't question it after that point.
Amir Smith-Marset, who had the game winner in that Iowa State game with the carry. And second down, Stanley, a sophomore out of Menominee, Wisconsin. He was essentially big man on campus at his high school, even as a freshman. He was a baseball player, a basketball player. He was the punter on the football team, but he said, look, I learned then that you're never as good as you think you are. There's always somebody going to be pushing you.
Oh, that's a good thing to learn early. And what Coach Ferentz talked about is they recruited a winner. He's won in everything he's done, and you already see that poise and calmness in playing quarterback in Iowa City.
Checks it down here for Akram Wadley, and the cavalry comes. It's Patty Fisher, the redshirt freshman middle linebacker, who is a very talented player with a loss of 1.
And here we are again, Northwestern's defense with an opportunity to get off the field at 4th and about 5. We've been here before in the last drive. Iowa marched down here 4th and 5, elected not to kick the 45-yard field goal, and we'll see if Northwestern finds a way to get off the field at 3rd and 5 right here.
This is their 18th play on defense already in the first quarter. Wadley on the run, barreling forward for a first down. So Akram Wadley moves the chains for Iowa.
Well, Jason, just as a little kid has kind of their security blanket or their binky, something of that nature. That's what the zone run is for Iowa. When they want to feel good about something, they never go too far away from that zone scheme, and that's what that was. Zone run inside left, had him up front, and have Wadley find the softness, and he does to convert.
So much for declining workload. He's got 9 touches already, and here is his backup, Torrin Young, on a first down run inside the red zone for the Hawkeyes, who, look, you turn on an Iowa game, they're going to run the ball. As we showed you, they're going to do it in a lot of different ways, but there's so much familiarity with these two teams. Everybody knows what's coming.
How many times did we hear that? You turn on the tape, you know what you're going to get. You know how your opponent is going to try to attack you. The defense for Northwestern has to find a way to take away that zone run.
Second down for Stanley. Young on the stretch play, and he is run down from behind by Patty Fisher, who Pat Fitzgerald told us he feels like he's the type of player that he can take the torch from Josie Jewell in this game as maybe the best middle linebacker in the Big Ten down the line.
Well, Pat Fitzgerald knows something about middle linebacker play, right? I mean, he was one of the toughest, hardest-nosed linebackers that you will find, and he thinks Patty Fisher is on track to be one of the best, if not the best, that's ever played at this school. Awfully high praise.
Third down and 6 for Iowa. Stanley scanning. Stanley is hit, and down he goes. Joe Gaziano, the sack leader for Northwestern, with the hit.
Gaziano is their pressure guy. He has 3 sacks. He's just going to come off the edge. And this is something that Iowa offensive line has struggled with a bit. That's a redshirt freshman in Jackson out on the edge, and he just simply gets beat over the top by Gaziano.
37-yarder for Miguel Racinos. It is no good. Trip up the Nittany Lions tonight. Clayton Thorson off the pitch for Jackson on first down, and Thorson has this game mean a little bit more to him as well. He was recruited by Iowa, got offered Friday before a game against Naperville North back in his high school days, and then the next day he came here to Evanston to watch Northwestern play Vanderbilt and got his offer from the Wildcats. He goes across the middle to Garrett Dickerson here, and he's slung ahead for a first down, Northwestern to the 31.
And Kirk Ferentz's side of that story is it's just one more swing and a miss. Obviously, they thought Clayton Thorson would have fit in perfectly well in Iowa City. It didn't happen, so you learn to move on. But I know Pat Fitzgerald is very, very happy this young man made that decision.
Play action for Thorson. He decides to run, and he's hit behind the line, so second and long coming. There's a reason that he might have fit in at Iowa. He went to Wheaton North High School, played for the Falcons. There's young Clayton Thorson. Same school as Chuck Long, one of the Iowa greats, so you would think that there might have been some recruiting help from Mr. Long, but it wasn't the case.
I'm sure there was some help, but it wasn't enough apparently.
Thorson with the connection to Ramad Jaukio Bowman. And look, you walk by Chuck Long's jersey every day at Wheaton North. Iowa 1981 to 85. State champion in Illinois as well. Now a commentator.
Yeah, how do you let that one go away? There were a lot of things working in Iowa's favor, but at the end of the day, here the young man is.
Thorson, who's had trouble with the pass rush, goes down. Parker Hesse and Nathan Bujita combine on the sack.
For the last few years, actually, Northwestern has been dreadful at protecting their quarterback, and that was the 21st time that Thorson has gone down this year, and there's really kind of a back and forth going on. They're trying to teach Thorson how to get rid of the football more quickly without throwing it into harm's way, but they also need better pass protection, and that was not it on this play.
Jackson fades back with this punt and now has to dodge it. Great bounce for Nicewander and Northwestern inside the 10. Don't forget, the ESPN app is your best friend. Every ESPN and ABC college football game live. Scores, news, highlights all season long. Download the ESPN app to start streaming now. And frankly, you got to have it because on the app, you can watch Chris Budden do the Elaine dance.
Yeah, that's worth the price of admission right there.
I mean, why not? Julia Louis-Dreyfus and Northwestern.
One thing that would have been better is you doing the Elaine dance.
That would have been tragic more than the first version, and we certainly wish the best to Julia Louis-Dreyfus.
Two drives that looked good in the number of plays, but the result was 0 points on the board. They come up empty, and both of these defenses are doing that. Funnel to third down and find one play to get off the field. In one case, Northwestern, it was on fourth down, but whatever it takes to keep the opposition off the board.
Hall showing blitz here from the bottom of the screen, and Wadley is chopped down. It's a gain of 1. Trent Goins took him to the turf. Look, Iowa has run 17 plays in plus territory and still has no points.
Yeah, Pat Fitzgerald talked to us about his offense. There needs to be an efficiency of plays. How many plays does it take to actually get points? Well, if you're Iowa, it's taken a lot of plays. You have run a lot and you have 0.
Look, there are college football teams who would see 30 seconds on the clock and try and run 4 plays. Iowa just goes to sideline.
Yeah, this is a physical hit you in the mouth game, so they want to go rest up and go back at it here in this second quarter.
This is the end.
As you might expect, nothing after 1. Iowa Northwestern. Offensively. Delay for Wadley, who continues to bear the load for the Hawkeyes. Third down coming up. And look, when you only have the ball for about 3 minutes, what are you supposed to do if you're Northwestern?
Not much. And Iowa has possessed it a ton of plays and nothing to show for it. And one thing that I think Iowa needs to do a much better job of is the play caller, Brian Ferentz, told us they have to take advantage on the perimeter. Northwestern defensively has aggressive safeties that fill the run, but there's some softness on the outside at times that Iowa needs to take advantage of in the pass game.
Stanley on third down. Over the middle across the 15, and Brandon Smith gets popped. He's short of the marker as we check into Big 12 country. Chris Cotter.
To the 18-yard line, it'll be 4th down and 2 to go.
All reports so far have Mike Gundy still with his shirt on, although sometimes.
Does he still have his mullet on?
Well, that's not a question.
I thought he was going to get rid of that. Maybe we can get him a shirt and get him a haircut at the same time.
Well, when we talked to him last year, he said his son was sick of it.
I understand that.
Gersonde to punt. He's taken over for Colton Rastetter. This return for Riley Lees. An explosive one into Iowa territory for the redshirt freshman out of suburban Libertyville. Allstate is proud to be part of the team that comes together to do good by contributing to participating universities' general scholarship funds for each field goal and extra point kick. To date, Allstate has contributed millions in scholarship funds. And they call this a segue. That was just a net of 29 on the punt.
That is a segue for sure. I don't know that it's necessarily a good one, but it is one. That's the important thing. You got to be in the game somehow.
Thorson over the middle, and a big collision. It is incomplete as Hooker made the hit on Wilson. We'll check in with Chris.
Jason, Josie Jewell wants to be out here so bad. He's in his helmet. He's got his eye black on, but he's also out here being Coach Jewell. Players are coming up to him. Ben Neiman, before that last series, came up and said, was I in the right position? So he's constantly talking and coaching up his teammates.
That's a way you contribute. Anything you can do, that's good stuff. There's a wealth of information out of that player.
Jackson hit by Bo Bauer this time, another one of those linebackers. So third down coming up, and you lose the Big Ten leader in tackles by a mile without Jewell.
Yeah, and he is absolutely a football finder when he plays. And the thing that I see when I watch Jewell play the game, Jason, is he has more want to than most people that suit up. There isn't any doubt about it. So the length and the speed and all that, the measurables is one thing, but the want to is something that you either have or you don't. And that young man has it in droves.
42 tackles, last 3 games is what they're without today. Northwestern yet to convert a third down this afternoon, and that has changed thanks to their all-time leading rusher, Justin Jackson, to the 32 with Gervais on the tackle.
And with Josie Jewell out, what you're also without is that the brain trust in the middle, because what Iowa wants to do defensively, Jason, is keep their base defense on the field, which means 3 linebackers. They're not a big sub-package team against the Northwestern offense that makes you try to get there because they spread it with empties and 3-by-1s all the time.
Clayton Thorson had that deflected and incomplete. So second down on the way.
And Thorson, excuse me, Jason, was in the process of throwing to the wrong guy. He was fortunate that got batted down. That was going into coverage, and there was a receiver on the crosser that was wide open underneath, and we saw that on tape. Thorson is not opposed to throwing places he shouldn't. He has 8 touchdown passes, but 9 interceptions because of what could have been one right there if it wasn't batted down. Go to the right place.
Jackson to the fringe, and it's third down and long for Northwestern. Clayton Thorson in the Wildcat losses has been about 13 to 14% worse than in the wins, and you saw on tape quite a few interceptions.
Yeah, because he presses and he tries to make too much happen, and I think there's some chemistry issues with his wide receivers, but you have to be willing to go underneath. And the offensive coordinator, Mick McCall, said we have to be willing to pick up a nickel and not always wait for the dime, and that's what we have to see out of him today.
He checked into a run for Larkin, who stumbles to the 29, so Jackson out, Larkin in, and it's fourth down, and that's the question, will they go for it? But you see Thorson in wins and losses, a big difference.
Yeah, and I think it's a matter of pressing. I think he doesn't have the chemistry, and he doesn't have Austin Carr outside, which was the go-to guy. That's yet to be defined outside as far as a go-to, and they're going for it right here on 4th down, which explains that run on 3rd down.
Thorson to throw on 4th down. He whistled it wide, incomplete. O.J. Mudia on the coverage of Skowronek, and Iowa gets it back after this.
Iowa takes over on downs.
Timeout.
Every time the Wildcats drive deep down the field this
In Katy, Texas. His defense back on the field, and that short run will set up second down. We've seen a lot of Fisher already today, Kel.
Yeah, against that zone run, Patty Fisher is going to be active, and you see him out on the perimeter. It's form tackling. It's behind the line of scrimmage on that run game, and then you have to bring it to Wadley. Those are some of the things. He loves contact. He's the emotional leader right now, even though he's a young player for this Northwestern defense. A pleasure to watch, just like Josie Jewell is.
You said emotional leader. He's had some emotional things happen to him in his life as well, just in his redshirt freshman season at Northwestern. Stanley down the middle, incomplete. Third down, Chris Button.
Jason, you mentioned the emotions that he's gone through. He lost his father at the age of 12 to pancreatic cancer. So when he was going through the recruitment process, he relied on some friends, including his Katy High School teammate, Travis Willock. So Coach Fitzgerald told us he knew when he was recruiting Patty Fisher, he would get either 2 kids from Katy or no kids from Katy. He got 2. The Willock family really helped Patty in his decision-making.
One of the great stories of football in the Big Ten, Patty Fisher, and you talk to people around the program, they say he is a high-level NFL-type kid already. Third down. And a whistle before the snap. Looks like the play clock hit 0.
Delay game. Offense. 5-yard penalty. Remains third down.
It's rare for Iowa. Not terribly penalized.
And we talked about Patty Fisher, and he's playing behind a defensive line that the key to that zone scheme is you really have to penetrate. And then Fisher's going to be the guy that has to clean up on a really, really shifty back in Wadley. We've already seen that happen a couple of times this afternoon.
3rd and long. They've got to get to the 39. Stanley with time, and he is no good for Smith Marset. He had 2 receivers in the area, and 4th down for the Hawkeyes.
And Northwestern was showing pressure. Patty Fisher was actually right over the ball, and he didn't come. He backed out. There was a lot of clutter to throw through, and that was the second errant pass by Nate Stanley.
How about this? After the long return on Gersonde's last punt, Colton Rastetter takes over, maybe to kick away from Riley Lees. He rolls this one and boots it off a bounce. Lees thought about it, now waves it off. So Northwestern has it inside its own 20. We're looking for our first points of the afternoon.
With you, if I wouldn't have gotten over it, I'd have still been at the other table.
Thorson on 1st down over the middle with an accurate ball to Macon Wilson, his favorite target to move the chains.
And that's really kind of the play action and getting the seam in behind. And what Northwestern wants to do offensively is they spread it out of the gun to run it. And then it's the play action to throw passes just like that to Wilson.
Another crossing play, and this one is brought in by Wilson off the deflection. Said he's his favorite target. Pat Fitzgerald said, look, he's the guy that he feels most comfortable with at this point. There is a flag in. It might be offensive interference.
Yeah, Dickerson, the tight end, is going to get
Pass
called.
interference. Offense. Number 9. 15-yard penalty. Repeat first down.
The tight end / super back here, and it's the crossing route, and Dickerson's purpose is to rub the defender, but you can't go down there and make contact early. That's a good call. You have to sell it more than Garrett Dickerson did right there. That was a good call, and Fitzgerald certainly didn't like it.
So Thorson goes right to him to get the yardage back. Dickerson on the catch to the 32 and a gain of 11.
And Jason, we'll see that mesh route or that crossing route multiple times, and then what Dickerson does is he creates some room and then he sets down in case it's a zone. It's best to have crossers against man-to-man, but Northwestern makes great adjustments if it's a zone. They do that very well.
Empty on 2nd and 14. Thorson goes wide. Another flag comes in as Jackson makes the catch. We'll check the marker. 1 penalty in the first quarter, 2 last couple of plays.
Personal foul. Hands to the face. Defense number 99. 15-yard penalty from the end of the run. Automatic first down.
Nathan Buzita in his 31st career start with that flag, and a big one.
And Buzzett is at the bottom of the screen, and he's just going to get a push, and sometimes your hands get too high. And that's exactly what happens. You strike him as a defensive lineman, and sometimes the hands just raise a little bit, and Buzzett got called for hands to the face right there.
Thorson, deep left and incomplete. Overthrown for Riley Lees. So 2nd down coming up for Northwestern, and Clayton Thorson, who 8 touchdowns, 9 picks coming in. He's got 13 career rushing touchdowns, but he's not a heavy runner. Jackson off the pitch, finds his way to the outside, and 3rd down and medium as they give him the 43. Bauer belted it.
And that run right there is kind of a maintenance play. You pass it on 1st and 10 and you risk getting behind the chains as Northwestern did, and that's a maintenance play. You out leverage the defense to the right, pitch it quickly to Jackson and let him get what he can.
Third down for Thorson. Jackson tripped up at the 39, so 4th and 1, and this is likely go for it, right?
And that was Ben Keenum on that play. In there for Josie Jewell. You have to race to the edge and stop that zone scheme that we see out of the quarterback zone read with Northwestern. But I think right now Northwestern saying we're going to throw the hammer down and go for it right here on 4th and 1.
Neiman, one of those 3 leading tackler linebackers. Jewell out. 4th and 1 for Northwestern, and timeout called.
And don't say H-back either.
Pat Fitzgerald said, look, what are you supposed to tell your family? You're an H? So he went with superback.
What does that mean? He is their best all-around player at that superback position, however.
Thorson checks it down over the middle and gets an absolute faceful of Neiman. Gain of 2. Jackson got hit, and he did go high.
And how about the crown of the helmet on this particular drive? Neiman in for Josie Jewell. Does he lower the head? I don't think so. I think it was a face mask and really the front of the helmet.
Jackson on the run, and we were talking to the replay official, Dave Whitvote, about that before the game, and he said, look, when you use the face mask, you're definitely safe in the definition of the crown of the helmet. So.
Yeah, and I think Ben Neiman was making an attempt to do just that. You could see at the last minute getting his head up, and that's what we have to have these defenders doing. We have to lower the target zone and also keep your head up to keep the crown of the helmet out of the tackle.
Thorson to run, and he is hit. Matt Nelson got him, so now decision time for Northwestern.
Once again, a defense, in this case Iowa's defense, finding a way to get off the field on 3rd and a passing down, and it appears that Northwestern may be going for it as well.
1 for 2 on 4th down today for the Wildcats. Only 1 miss on the drive for Thorson. Boy, Slater, the right tackle, moved, and there was no flag. Now here it comes.
False start. Offense, number 70. 5-yard penalty. Remains 4th down.
Yeah, Iowa pointed it out. The flag came late, but Slater did flinch. And there goes the 4th down opportunity.
Just a little bit, and that's all it takes. Once you're set up front, you can't give that type of movement, and the true freshman Slater did just that.
Nice wander to punt to Jackson. And this one ends up in the end zone. But congratulations to Kirk Ferentz on great success. His contract now runs through 2025. In his 19th season, 2 of the longest tenured guys in the FBS in this game. Play action for Stanley. He moves well in the pocket, and he does right there to get a completion for a 1st down, and then some to Torrin Young across the 40-yard line. Chris Cotter, what do you have? Go right back to the guy, right?
Yeah, no doubt. And in the run game, if you're Wisconsin, that's certainly what they set the table with offensively.
They spot Young all the way to the 43. And Akram Wadley trying to change directions, and he goes down in the arms of Samdup Miller, the freshman out of Houston. Fresh off that upset against Clemson, Syracuse and Dino Babers against number 8 Miami, only unbeaten left in the ACC. It's 3:30 Eastern on ESPN, also on the ESPN app. Syracuse and Miami haven't played a whole lot recently, even though they've been in the ACC. Last time the Cuse won, it was Donovan McNabb in 1998. It's been a long time since they got the Hurricanes. Akram Wadley leaning forward, but not a lot there. It's a third down and long. Miller again with the tackle.
What
You all right there? I know you get choked up with running games.
Yeah, when Northwestern shuts down the zone scheme of Iowa, it chokes me up a little bit. But what Northwestern is doing is they're edge blitzing, and they're blitzing before that running back can get into the line of scrimmage behind the zone blocking scheme, and Northwestern's winning that battle currently.
Third and 10 for the Hawkeyes and the sophomore Stanley. He checks it down, and a beautiful tackle in open field by Nate Hall, chopping down Wadley to thwart the drive.
That was a huge tackle by Hall because Wadley had gotten the ball, was squared up, and there was a lot of green grass down the numbers right there. If Hall doesn't get him, Wadley might take this all the way, and that's exactly what Iowa wants to do in the pass game. If they can't throw it downfield, get it to Wadley in space and have him make something happen, and he couldn't against Hall right there.
Nate Hall, by the way, back-to-back weeks with career highs in tackles. He's the second Hall brother to play at Northwestern, as this one ends up as a touchback on a long punt from Gersonde. Chris Cotter. Penn State, Michigan, Kel, who you got?
I like Penn State. I like anyone who has Barkley running the football for them. And remember what happened last year against Michigan. I think Penn State has been reminded of that 49-to-whatever game for quite some time now.
Thorson with loads of time goes to the sideline and picks up a first down with Cam Green. Chris Button.
But Garrett Dickerson is going to be available to play. He's not out there right now. He was having trouble putting some pressure on the right leg, but he's on the bike, and medical staff says he will be able to go back in today.
Yeah, that was the other superback, Green, that made the catch. So Thorson to throw again into traffic. There were white jerseys everywhere. Josh Jackson was involved. And second down.
Jason, we've talked about that. Thorson will get locked on a guy and throw the ball into multiple defenders. And Jace James was on a crossing route, and he was wide open. You have to be willing to take the boring stuff. And right now, Thorson hasn't proved that he can do that consistently well.
Thorson unloads to the sideline. It's batted away. What a job by Josh Jackson at the sideline, and he nearly picked it.
He definitely caught it. The question is going to be whether Jackson gets down in bounds. On his backside, is anything out of bounds? And I think his left shoulder is out of bounds before the ball drops into his lap. But it was a good job of recovering by Josh Jackson and batting that ball away.
Will Iowa get another crack at it late second quarter? We'll find out. Clayton Thorson steps up and runs. Thorson goes down. Parker Hesse drags him. It's a gain of 3 and fourth down. Does Iowa use a timeout here?
I would if I was Iowa. That is Iowa's, yeah, and Iowa's going to use it right now. That's a good call, Jason. And
first charge, timeout of the half, Iowa.
And that was Iowa's defensive game plan, is funnel this Northwestern offense to third down and then force the Northwestern receiving court to prove that they can get separation. I hadn't seen them doing it consistently on tape, and they haven't done it consistently here today.
So you look at the scoreboard, nothing. You'd expect it maybe a stalemate, because these two guys know each other as well as anybody. Since 2006, Ferentz and Fitzgerald have been going against one another in Big Ten play. Kirk Ferentz, a couple years longer than Patterson at TCU. And how about Frank Solich, still in Athens?
Hanging around, no doubt about it. And not only do these two coaches know each other well, they actually approach the game in a pretty similar way. It was a time in the late 90s that Northwestern started a different offensive approach, but defensively they're similar. They still like to run the football and then be buttoned down on special teams, take the ball away, defend third down. All of that, both of these teams do extremely well.
Short punt. Vandenberg steps up. Flags are everywhere. It's the United Nations at the 35-yard line.
Just when I stop paying attention, you say something like that, and it rings my bell a bit.
So very happy you've decided to pay attention intermittently this Saturday afternoon.
You made that sound a lot worse than I intended it to be.
That's what friends are for. This is going to go against Iowa and move the Hawkeyes back.
It's going to go against Iowa like several times, and Iowa's offense needs some help, and this isn't it. What Iowa needs to have happen is they have to have
illegal
their
block in the back.
game.
Receiving team number 8. That penalty is declined. During the kick, holding receiving team number 11. That penalty is 10 yards from the end of the kick. Iowa keeps the ball, first down.
The summation of all of that is Iowa is backed up once again, and they're an offense that worked well early. They've had 3 and outs the last couple of possessions. But what they aren't getting to very successfully is the perimeter pass game that Brian Ferentz told us about. It has to be kind of married to the run game, the quick pass game when there's some softness, and then some intermittent vertical shots down the field. And right now, Nate Stanley is not getting that done with his receivers in Iowa's pass game.
He hit on the 26-yarder in the first quarter, dropped it in the bucket for Easley, just 99 yards overall. And he'll go play action. Lobbing it down the middle of the field. Vandenberg is there. Matt Vandenberg with the splash play you asked for at the 16-yard line. 61 yards.
And off the play action pass, Northwestern safety jumps up inside, and then Vandenberg gets on the post. Middle open, it's an easy read for Nate Stanley, and Nate Stanley drops it right in the shirt pocket of Vandenberg.
Longest catch for Vandenberg this year by nearly double. Quick pitch out on a screen for Easley, who's dropped at the 12-yard line. A Hall with the stop, gain of 3.
Well, Jason, another similarity between these teams. Defensively, they both play in a way that they make the offense earn everything. And so it's very hard to get points if you don't get splash plays. And we saw that big splash play by Vandenberg from his quarterback Stanley on the 2 plays ago.
Under a minute and a half. He'll go out of the gun, and a flag comes in. Untimely penalties for Iowa today.
False start. Offense, number 74. 5-yard penalty, remains first down.
It's the freshman Tristan Wirfs, who they really like. He's the first right tackle to start as a freshman, a true freshman for Kirk Ferentz, but not the time for that penalty. The guy was trying to call a timeout, and now it's acknowledged.
They did seem a little out of sorts. They were trying to.
Iowa.
Iowa was trying to hurry up, and they just didn't seem like they were all on the same page.
On Tristan Wirfs, the right tackle. Here's a guy who Kirk Ferentz said if he lives in Chicago, we don't get a phone call, but he's from Mount Vernon, Iowa. So a guy they really like, but they're set up thanks to this big play.
Yeah, and Iowa is going to have a few of these. You can see there's going to be pressure. The middle of the the middle of the field is going to be open in the post route by Vandenberg. And that's exactly where the quarterback needs to throw it if you get that read. Everybody steps up inside. Vandenberg slices by the corner, and then it's a really, really good post throw by Nate Stanley. But it's about that protection, and you talked about Tristan Wirfs on the outside, and that was an interesting story. He's from Mount Vernon, Iowa, if he's a Chicago kid, he's probably playing at somewhere like Alabama. That's what Kurt Ferentz said. But once in a while, they get that local kid that everyone wants, and he wants to stay home, and that's a good thing for the Hawkeyes.
Good news for Iowa fans. Nate Stanley today passes over 20 yards. He's been perfect. One timeout left for Iowa. 2nd down and 12. Stanley unloads to the sideline, and this gets him inside the 10. Vandenberg again. 3rd down with the clock moving.
Very good timing, and you would certainly have liked the receiver to get out on that particular play. Very good coverage because the ball did get there on time to Vandenberg.
Under a minute, 3rd down and 1. Stanley to throw, wide open touchdown. Noah Fant with nobody around.
Jason, this play was based on formationing. Brian Ferentz, the offensive coordinator for Iowa, had a 3-by-1 set, and to the one side was Noah Fant, and also the fullback, Brady Ross, in there for Drake Kulak. And it ended up Northwestern chased the fullback out to the flat and completely dropped Noah Fant, the big tight end, standing there all alone. That's called a formationing touchdown. Wide side of the field, trip set, but our focus is really to our single side tight end fullback, and Northwestern dropped the big tight end.
We talked about it earlier with that G run on the zone run scheme.
Yeah.
A lot of variations on the typical Iowa theme.
Yeah, there isn't any question. They're a zone run scheme, but there's a lot of variations. And you can see the wide side of the field is where the emphasis is, and you see that the tight end just slips out. It gives a run look to the short side. And you saw the fullback Brady Ross getting out there. That zone run, the defense has to sell out to protect against. And then what happens? The big tight end just slips in behind. He doesn't block anybody, and Northwestern forgets to cover it.
The safety, Jared McGee, had to pick somebody.
Exactly. They put those guys in a bind. And in that particular case, the formation that Iowa was in wins. Run heavy left, potential pass to the wide side, and Fant was dropped, the big tight end, all alone.
How about this? Iowa's first 2 drives, 11-plus plays, and then they score their touchdown on a 4-play, $148 drive.
The beauty of the splash.
Kick off your Week 7. It's Sunday NFL Countdown, 10 a.m. Eastern on ESPN. Patriots and Falcons, Super Bowl rematch. Don't turn it off. It's blowout early. Please don't. Matt Brady and Matt Ryan together for an inside look at the biggest comeback in Super Bowl history. Plus, you got mossed. You got mossed. Best catches from the weekend. Streaming live on the ESPN app. Not the happy kneel down that Thorson had a week ago in College Park to set up Iowa week. His offense will leave the field with a goose egg so far in half number 1. Iowa with the touchdown to Noah Fant, the tight end, and this is Iowa Northwestern, isn't it?
No doubt about it. Physical teams that want to run it and play defense on 3rd down and get off the field, and that's exactly what we saw in this first half.
Coming up after the break, Dave and Buster's halftime report. Chris Cotter's got it for you.
This is the end of the first half.
At the half, the score, Iowa 7, Northwestern 0.
Coach, other than the one explosive play, you've been able to limit Iowa. How do you continue that in the second half?
Well, I can't give up explosive plays. Our defensive front seven is doing great. We're moving the ball pretty well offensively. I think our line's doing okay. We've got to finish drives across the 50, and we can't give up explosive plays.
How do you take advantage with Josie Jewell out?
You know, it's Iowa. It's the next guy up. They're well coached, and they got great players. So it has nothing to do with that. We have to execute cleaner.
Appreciate it.
Thanks. Go Cats.
Park to set up Iowa week. His offense will leave the field with a goose egg so far in half number one. Iowa with the touchdown to Noah Fant, the tight end, and this is Iowa Northwestern, isn't it?
No doubt about it. Physical teams that want to run it and play defense on third down and get off the field, and that's exactly what we saw in this first half.
Coming up after the break, Dave and Buster's halftime report. Chris Cotter's got it for you.
This is the end of the first half.
At the half, the score, Iowa 7, Northwestern 0.
Coach, other than the one explosive play, you've been able to limit Iowa. How do you continue that in the second half?
Well, I can't give up explosive plays. Our defensive front seven is doing great. We're moving the ball pretty well offensively. I think our line's doing okay. We've got to finish drives across the 50, and we can't give up explosive plays.
How do you take advantage with Josie Jewell out?
You know, it's Iowa. It's the next guy up. They're well coached, and they got great players. So it has nothing to do with that. We have to execute cleaner.
Appreciate it.
Thanks. Go Cats.
Ladies and gentlemen.
All ESPN coverage is streaming live on the ESPN app. Download now and take ESPN everywhere.
You're watching the Big Ten on ESPN. 75 and sunny, and the defenses have earned their keep so far in half number one from Evanston. Jason Benetti, Kelly Stauffer, Chris Budden along with you in Iowa, trying to pick up a victory after losing in this game last year, 38-31. Northwestern in that game scored on 3 consecutive drives, touchdowns in the third and fourth quarter. So a second half comeback isn't out of the realm of possibility.
No, and those touchdowns were to a guy named Austin Carr that doesn't play for Northwestern any longer. So where is Northwestern going to get some plays in their pass game? I think we need to answer that question in the second half.
Yeah, Clayton Thorson just 9 for 16 in half number one. Riley Lee's on the return, and he gets yanked back just across the 20. Time now for today's game track, brought to you by Cabela's. Maybe it's the run game that needs to see a little improvement. Jackson only 9 carries.
Yeah, for both teams, I think. You're right, but Jackson is the bell cow for that offense at Northwestern. They spread it to run it first, and then Wadley hasn't been very productive. Both backs under 4 yards a pop, and then Stanley's been efficient, but the one splash play led to a touchdown to Vandenberg. And so that's the difference in this game. I think I love football like this in the Big Ten.
Thorson makes the choice to keep, and he's dragged back by Parker Hesse for no gain on first down. So the Iowa defense, which yards per carry was an issue coming in, has done very well.
Yeah, and that's who they are. And both of these teams play that way. You're born and raised in Big Ten country. You have to appreciate football like this, right?
Yeah, 7 points is too many in the first half.
Exactly.
Quite a few Big Ten
Where did that 7 come from?
Hesse was coming. The pressure gets there. Thorson gets dropped. Anthony Nelson was helping with sack number 6 of his season.
And Jason, both defenses can do this. Iowa is very good at defending the run, funneling to a pass down when the offense gets behind the sticks, and then getting that kind of pressure. It's defensive football 101, and these two teams live there in conference play, and they're doing it very well today. We saw Iowa on that play.
That was Nelson and Bajada and Hesse all in there getting a touch. Thorson to throw, and it's incomplete. Lees was draped by Jackson. No flag comes in, and Iowa will get it very quickly.
When Northwestern needs a play in the pass game, they have multiple crossers. And Lees was that crosser on that play, defended by Jackson. And we've seen that matchup a few times, and Jackson has won basically all of them. Another misfire in Northwestern pass game, and there was pressure once again on the quarterback Thorson.
Nice wander, the punt. Jackson very busy, back to receive, and a great bounce for the Wildcats. Can they touch up? The answer is yes. What a punt for Nicewander. That is an 80-yard boot. Downstairs, Chris Button.
I talked to both coaches at halftime, and they say it both boils down to execution. One note for Northwestern, their head athletic trainer just told me that Garrett Dickerson is doubtful for his return to this game. I asked Pat Fitzgerald at halftime, how do you take advantage with Josie Jewell out? And he laughed. He said, it's Iowa. They just put someone else in, and they're just as good.
They know exactly what's coming. Both teams do in this type of game.
There aren't many secrets. And if someone changes a formation, this cat's out of the bag because the opposition will know something's up.
On a first down run, Wadley, it's a short game. We were talking to Pat Fitzgerald yesterday. He said he was watching the other games that Iowa's had recently.
That was hilarious.
He was yelling at the screen at the other coaches to say, a fake is coming. Lovey, they're going to fake it.
I didn't know you were going to let the cat out of the bag and say who it was against, who the actual other team was.
Well, that was the most recent one.
Okay. You're saying there are multiple examples, but that's the familiarity. And if something is out of order, it stands out like a sore thumb.
Wadley again, stretching it out wide, broke a tackle. Akram Wadley is close to the marker. Montre Hardage finally made the stop.
And the thing is, Jason, that neither one of these offenses, Iowa in the zone scheme, they're not going to run or wander too far away from who they are. And that's who these coaches are, Kurt Ferentz and Pat Fitzgerald. They stick to who they are and what they know and what their players that they recruited can execute. And we're going to see that the rest of this game.
No surprises. Wadley, his 16th carry of the day. And the idea was somewhere between 18 to 20 carries for Akram Wadley, but that number has seemed to grow.
Officials timeout for an injured defensive player.
That's Nate Hall that's down for Northwestern, who had a very active first half.
And that linebacking level is very important. We talked about Fisher, but Hall was, like you said, very active in that first half.
Second leading tackler for Northwestern is down and being looked at by the training staff. Each team 1-2 in the Big Ten, Northwestern and Iowa. And this is one of those pivotal games, especially for bowl eligibility. If you're the Wildcats, you'd like to get to 4-3 and get closer to that 6-win plateau.
Yeah, and both of these teams have really responded this year like really you anticipated. I think their losses are to teams that you thought they probably would lose to. Although I think Iowa knows they gave one away against Penn State. It's that at Duke game early in the year that Northwestern spit the bit and got rolled that seems kind of the anomaly. But this is a locator game to me. It's a conference game. They're familiar with one another, as we've talked about a lot. And so it's basically what Chris said. The coaches said coming out of half, who executes the best? Well, we'll see in the next several minutes who does that.
So after the injury, second down for the Hawkeyes, and Stanley with a quick pass and incomplete. Easley had some room to turn and burn, and he couldn't hang on.
And those are the execution snafus that have to go away if you're Iowa and you're going to drive the football. They drove it a couple times in the second half, but this is a gimme. I mean, by formation, Easley is completely uncovered and the ball is a little bit too hot, and Easley doesn't look it in and it bounces off his left shoulder. That's a gimme that has to be completed about 95% of the time.
That's catchable, though.
Absolutely catchable.
Got to get to the 23. Stanley had a crosser, Easley threw it late and incomplete.
Jason, you talked about a crosser, and it was Easley. Typically a crossing route is because the play caller, Brian Ferentz in this case, is expecting man-to-man coverage. Northwestern gave him a zone coverage, and Easley was working his way through the windows trying to find an opening, and his quarterback, Nate Stanley, was not quite satisfied with the adjustment, and in the end, just threw an errant pass.
Gersonde to punt to try to match the 80-yarder from Nicewander, and this is well shorter, but a good bounce. Both punters love the turf here at Ryan Field. 49 yards that time.
Timeout.
Hey guys, Dickerson just grabbed his helmet and is in the huddle, so you may see him this series.
The official student section of Northwestern Athletics.
Did you guys get that?
Got it, thanks.
Yep.
We did, thank you.
Sorry, I hit talk back. My fault.
Who are you talking back to when you hit talk back when we're in break and every mic on the planet is open?
Yakety yak.
Yakety yak.
I'm enjoying the banter, gentlemen.
Thank you, yeah.
Yeah.
You can join anytime.
Kelly's really taking it on the chin.
What?
So making fun of you a lot.
I know, I need to stick up for myself.
Which led to an appointment to the Judge Advocate General Court. Justin Ragland retired in 2016. Her eldest daughter currently serves as an
We read in there this morning.
ESPN College Football, brought to you by Wendy's Fresh, Never Frozen Beef Hamburgers, the official hamburger of the NCAA.
And now turn to the video board for an update on Wildcats in the NFL.
ESPN College Football, brought to you by Wendy's Fresh, Never Frozen Beef Hamburgers, the official hamburger of the NCAA.
If you're a pair of star-crossed lovers on the Northwestern campus, you go to the Shakespeare Garden, I guess.
I guess.
You a big Shakespeare guy? Big Bard guy?
I'm a little Shakespeare guy.
Yeah.
Like, maybe little to none.
Thorson to throw, and he's got the 40-yard line, and that's all to Macon Wilson. Neiman with the hit after 6, and Northwestern's going to hurry it up a little bit. Haven't seen a lot of Justin Jackson, maybe here on 2nd and 4, and they do go to him. Jackson's so good at changing direction. He has a first down, Northwestern.
And Jackson, just like his counterpart on the other side of the field, Wadley, in that zone scheme, they have the vision and footwork to get to the backside. If you overplay the point of attack, Jackson can get back to the right like he did on that play right there.
Hyper-intelligent young man, Justin Jackson, who lost his mother at a very young age, his mom, Denise. He's from nearby Carroll Stream. Thorson over the middle has Flynn Nagel, his roommate, into plus territory to the 46.
And Nagel was a guy that Pat Fitzgerald told us they need to get more out of. He's pressing to kind of fill that void that Austin Carr left when he graduated.
This run for a first down for Jackson again. Bujita stopped him, but Northwestern with a solid drive to get them into plus territory.
And a little more pace to their play currently. And they don't go fast a lot, but when they're in rhythm like they are on this drive, they do kind of press the pace just a bit.
Thorson steps up, dumps it down, and it's incomplete. Dropped by Jackson, who just moved into 9th place all time in rushing yards in Big Ten history. He's not going to catch Ron Dane, but there's some other names, maybe 4th or 5th by the end of the season.
Yeah, and that's a pretty significant group right there. And the thing about Jackson is he absolutely is a workhorse. And the first word out of the mouth of the coaches when we talked about Jackson, humble. That's the best yet.
Thorson, a dart down the middle, and that is caught in traffic by Fessler. There's a flag down as well where Thorson was throwing and Fessler got hit.
Holding. Offense number 69. 10-yard penalty. Second down.
Brad North, the senior center, with the penalty. It wipes away a 14-yard gain.
And Brad North is that 5th-year senior right in the middle of the screen, is going to get called for the hold. It was fairly late as he begins to go down, and he is hurt. And he pulls the defender down with him, and then the contested catch at the other end.
Jake Gervais with the hit on Fessler, who is now up, and that's a good sign for the Wildcats.
But those are the kind of catches that Northwestern is going to have to make today. On this drive earlier, we saw Wilson come down with a contested catch, and that time it was Fessler on the contested catch. That's how you have to win against Iowa. Execute in those tight spaces. There isn't a lot of room in the run game or the pass game. You have to make a contested play.
Move back with the penalty. Skowronek just across midfield again to set up 3rd down and forever for Northwestern. Got to get to the 34. It's a sophomore local product, Manny Rugumba out of Naperville in the Chicago suburbs with the tackle.
And Northwestern has suffered here trying to protect their quarterback. I would assume Iowa will show some pressure, but in the end they'll probably just rush 4, thinking they can still get pressure on Clayton Thorson.
Hesse and Epinesa changing spots on that line. Epinesa nearly got a hand on him, and Thorson has a world of room in front of him. Thorson chopped down on a 1st down run by Amani Hooker, but a great choice by Thorson that time, 21 yards.
And the pressure did drive Thorson out, and you can finish the end of the play right there, but it's the pressure that forced Thornton out of the pocket against man-to-man, and a lot of green grass right down the middle of the field.
And a low snap. Thorson recovers, floats it for Jackson, and what a catch by his running back. That was a play that looked like it was a disaster, and he turns it into 9.
I do think it was by design. Jackson was just checking late, and I think he was the #1 look. But you're right, that ball came out a little high, and Jackson made a great catch.
Low snap, high throw, and the average is a 9-yard gain.
And 21 is the eraser of the bad throw and ends up making a really positive play.
High snap this time. Jackson zigzagging for the 1st down. So Brad North with a penalty and then 2 rough snaps.
Yeah, that one was high and hot. The other one was a little bit low, and he got banged up, did Brad North, on that holding penalty, and snapping a little hot and high currently.
Larkin in at tailback. He gets the pitch, and Larkin down to the 10.
Get him 7 to the 10, 2nd and 3.
Now keep it on the ground on the 11th play of the drive. It's a 1st and goal for Northwestern on the Larkin run.
And Larkin has been in there the last couple of plays, giving Jackson somewhat of a respite. I would think deep in the red zone that we'd see Jackson again, but Jeremy Larkin is still the single back in the backfield.
1st and goal, Northwestern. Larkin again to the fringe, diving, touchdown! Jeremy Larkin, the redshirt freshman. Second touchdown for Jeremy Larkin out of Cincinnati. He had 76 rushing touchdowns in high school. He has a game-tying touchdown to fire up his coach this afternoon. Clayton Thorson lumbering down the field to set up the opportunity. Jeremy Larkin gets him in off a dive, and we are equalized in Evanston.
Yeah, Jay calls me kind of
on
every
Monday.
week. And
tied at 7 in Big Ten play in Evanston. Jason Benetti, Kelly Stauffer, Chris Button. And look, you grind and you grind and you grind, and then finally you break one off.
you're from this territory. You have to love this game, right?
You have to.
Yeah, Big Ten play and defenses that are playing really well. They want to run the ball, but defenses are winning out. 2 splash plays, and we have 2 touchdowns on the board.
That's the way it works,
That's
right?
the way it works in the Big Ten.
We talked about it a couple weeks ago. Joe Tiller changed that, and certainly as we talked to the coaches setting up for this game, athletic quarterbacks have changed the game in this league, but generally, baseline-wise, you get this, and it's fun to watch.
I love this throwback game. I wish the game was played more this way more often, but let's enjoy it while we can.
Lucado to kick it for Northwestern off its opening score of the game, and this touchback will give us a chance to check in with Chris Potter.
Iowa will have Western Standards at 25.
That's a good game. We saw Florida State last week, and we see James Blackman getting better and better every week for the Seminoles.
Yeah, growing up, and he can look across the field and have kind of the standard in college football in a lot of ways with Lamar Jackson. That's a good matchup.
Iowa back to the offense, and Nate Stanley with a quick set and a dart wide side for Easley on a first down catch just short of the marker. In the Big Ten later tonight, you know a lot of the folks watching this game are going to watch this one. Number 19 Michigan, number 2 Penn State at Beaver Stadium, 7:30 Eastern, 6:30 Central, 4:30 Pacific on ABC, also on your ESPN app.
Who do you have in that game? You asked me earlier. Who are you taking?
You know what? I actually think Michigan is going to give them a big fight. I really do. I don't know they're going to win, but I think it's going to be very close, like final possession close.
I like it.
You know, it was interesting this week. We were talking to Josie Jewell about running backs and guys he's faced, and he said, on Saquon Barkley, here's a guy that has just about everything, can change directions, all of that, but he's got that extra component of being able to jump over you.
Yeah, that adds a lot. That's kind of Superman-ish, right? He does everything well, and then he finishes probably unlike any running back in college football currently.
Akram Wadley is hit and dropped. Brett Walsh, the senior, driving through for the hit. But on Saquon Barkley, if you're going to pick a Heisman front runner, it's got to be him.
Oh,
right?
no question about it. What he does for his team and the dynamic plays. We talk about explosive plays and splash plays that take the pressure off your own team, your offense, and Saquon Barkley is that guy. He's a splash play waiting to happen, and you can't take the foot off the gas for 1 second or it'll make you pay for it.
Trick play. Smith-Marset off a Stanley block, but he couldn't get both of them. Montre Hardage sends him head over heels on a loss of 2, 3rd down.
Very disciplined defense by Hardage. He's the corner on the far side of the field, and he stays home, which is exactly what you have to do, and then you show up like that and finish the play. Hardage is leverage on that side. He was disciplined, and the play came right back to him.
Recruited by Georgia State, Army, and Western Kentucky, and very much holding his own in the Big Ten. 3rd down, Smith-Marset is drilled. A mass of purple flying at him, including Hall, who's back in after the injury.
You better have your head on a swivel in this game. We saw it in the first half, and it's carried over to the second half. Patty Fisher was in on that again, and we've seen him multiple times. You better lock your chin strap on, or your helmet might come flying off.
One of the top young linebackers in the country, Patty Fisher, leaves, waits for this one, and puts it on the turf. Lee's got back on it, and so Northwestern dodges danger. A 41-yard punt and hearts and throats here in Evanston.
During the kick, holding, receiving team number 7. 10-yard penalty from the end of the kick. 1st down, timeout.
Off the penalty against McShepard, Northwestern will have it back after this.
Hey guys, Northwestern coaches, hopefully will add on this, telling them to continue to play with tempo, Which, Kelly, I might toss it back to you with what Fitzgerald said yesterday about Iowa doesn't have a lot of depth, so if they can wear them out, that's the goal.
Yeah, thank you.
Longtime head coach Pat Fitzgerald, 21 years as a player or coach at Northwestern, and his team honored the 1962 team of Era Parsegian, who passed away just recently within the past couple of months. And you see the patch for Coach Fitz and the Northwestern Wildcats here today. About 19 or so of the folks from that team are here for the weekend as Bauer makes the tackle on Justin Jackson. And so Bo Bauer and Ben Neiman at linebacker with Jewell out. It would have been the 20th consecutive start together for those three, but Iowa's playing well without its leading tackler.
Yeah, and I don't know that they have the depth that they once did on the defensive side, and especially with Jewell out. Northwestern wants to spread it out, and that puts a lot of pressure on that linebacking level for Iowa.
Thorson over the middle has a completion. Flynn Nagel to the 30. First down Wildcats. Chris Cotter. Badgers having a day. Jackson finds some space. Oh, the nifty footwork from Jackson, and he's finally down at the 39, Chris Budden.
Jason, expect them to continue to play at this kind of pace. Assistant coach Dennis Springer telling his guys before this series, if we play with tempo, we win this game. And Kelly, that's something Pat Fitzgerald said. Hey, they've got a lot of guys, but they don't play a lot of them.
Depth being an issue. Jackson straight up the gut. Finally bulldozed just short of midfield by Neiman, and Hooker, gain of 11.
And Chris, we saw this out of Northwestern's offense on the previous drive. Pat Fitzgerald told us yesterday in our meetings that it's the efficiency of a single play. We string them together and we can go faster, and they want to grind down this Iowa defense, and we're seeing it currently in this second half.
Jackson comes out, Larkin in, Skoranek with the catch at the sideline to the 44.
Because the only way that you can play with a little bit of pace is that you're efficient in your play. If you're not, you can pace yourself right off the field quickly, and your own defense gets worn down.
You think maybe they weren't ready for that in the first half?
I think it was a matter of Iowa playing better in the first half, and so I think a little bit of adjustment, better in the pass game, more efficient, is allowing Northwestern to possess it currently.
Larkin belted by Neiman. It's going to be third down and 1 for Northwestern as we move to the end of the third quarter. Wildcats trying to piece together back-to-back wins after getting by Maryland on the road last week. Third and 1 for Thorson. On the roll to the sideline, incomplete. Is that a call as a flag has come in? Is that a call to set up 4th and 1 maybe?
I think that's a call getting Thorson outside of harm's way because Iowa's been getting pressure on him. We see the holding call that's coming down here against Northwestern. Certainly Iowa will march them back.
Holding. Offense, number 71. 10-yard penalty. Repeat, third down.
I think Thorson is a very good on-the-move thrower. We haven't seen it a lot today, but that's a quick move to the right with the right-hander and throw the ball on time. And to me, again, it was the right guy. It was the wrong type of throw, meaning there was too much gas on that. and the receiver was overwhelmed by it.
Thorson still completion free on third down. Jackson back in at tailback. They've got to get to the 40 in Iowa territory. Thorson hits the crosser, Macon Wilson, and they're right back where they started or so. 4th down and 1.5.
Now you have a decision. I don't think either team really trusts their field goal kicking a great deal currently. We saw that in the first half to some extent. So Northwestern's offense stays on the field, and I believe Pat Fitzgerald has said, no time like the present.
Fourth down, Northwestern.
I really like the quarterback underneath the center at this point in time.
Northwestern does not. Thorson to throw. Pressure coming. Steps aside, and he's got his man, Flynn Nagel, to the 35 and a first down.
That's probably the 10th time that we've seen that mesh route. 2 crossers, and then one of the crossers comes out the back door all by himself. In this case, it's Flynn Nagel, and Thorson does a great job of sticking on the guy. You have to sort it out as a quarterback because initially it seems like a mess inside. Nagel comes clean out the backside of it.
Thorson on the roll, hits Jackson in the hands. He turned him around though, 2nd down.
A little bit movement of the pocket. I see the quarterback right now. We've seen it a couple of times. A slight move of the pocket and get the ball away quickly, which I think is the key right now. When they're going to pass the ball, Northwestern, they don't want to be under duress. This Iowa defensive front has gotten after the quarterback.
Too much heat on that ball. What do you think?
Too much heat and poorly thrown. It was inside off the wrong shoulder to a running back.
Jackson strung out nicely by Sam Brinks in the defensive line. He didn't make the tackle. Jackson and Hooker did, but Brinks got in there.
And we're 3rd and money down once again for both squads. The defense of Iowa was successful in the first half, getting off the field in situations like this. In the second half, Northwestern's offense, and Thorson in particular, have looked sharper in the pass game in these situations.
Jackson in motion. Pump fake Thorson. Epinez is coming. Thorson eludes him and throws it out of bounds. Now what? 4th and 7.
Good question. What do you think?
Well, it's the alumni zone, as Pat
right.
Fitzgerald said. If you go for it and you get it, they're happy with you. If they go for it and they don't get it, the crowd starts yelling. So they're going to go.
Just a little bit out of the comfortable field goal range, and so Northwestern is once again apparently going to go for it on 4th and 7.
On the 12th play of this drive at the end of the 3rd quarter. 4th down for Thorson. Incomplete. Iowa gets it back.
It's that matchup we've seen multiple times. Riley Lee's running the route, and Josh Jackson was absolutely in his hip pocket, nowhere to throw. I've never heard you talk so much about Cuse than you are this week.
Well, I just read exactly what's on the card, Kel.
That other stuff you just made up.
Stanley is drilled. Down he goes behind the 25. Joe Gaziano broke down his door again.
This is the end.
Down the hatches if you're Northwestern's defense.
After the Gaziano sack, Wadley slams on the brakes and it gets only 2. Jordan Thompson, the junior out of Cincinnati, with the stop. And the reason Iowa didn't have the ball very much.
Similar to the first half in Iowa's favor. But the result is there are 2 7s on the board, and they're because of 2 different splash plays that put their respective teams into the scoring zone. And that's all we've had. Other than that, it's been a old-fashioned Big Ten slugfest with defenses playing really well.
Iowa splits out the wide receiver spot, the tight end Fant on the left side, and Stanley runs this one into the teeth of that purple defense, and Sam Duke Miller, the freshman, to set up 4th down, and Iowa white flags this drive after the opening sack.
Yeah, Iowa white flagged it when Nate Stanley carries the ball on a designed run. That doesn't happen a whole lot, and you can see why. He doesn't have a great feel for it. Northwestern will do that with Clayton Thorson quite often, but Nate Stanley, that's not exactly his wheelhouse.
Gersonde to punt, and it's a good one inside the 20. Flynn Nagel getting punt return duties back after losing them last week at Maryland. He's to the 30. And our Week 7 Monday Night Football matchup is a big NFC East battle. Kirk Cousins and the Redskins. Carson Wentz of the 5-1 Eagles. Coverage starts Monday Night Countdown, 6 Eastern on ESPN. Game also available on ESPN2 in Spanish. That's Darnell Autry's former Philadelphia Eagles. Pat Fitzgerald loved Darnell Autry's acting career, by the way.
I don't think that's what I didn't exactly hear that.
He was huge in Darnell's acting inspiration.
He actually went and watched it in person, and we'll let it go at that.
He enjoyed it. Play action for Thorson. Looking at Jackson, throws it further downfield and has Macon Wilson just short of the line to gain to the 39-yard line. Gain of 8. You can tell how important that 1995, 1996 run was to Pat Fitzgerald just talking to him.
Oh, no question about it.
Jackson for 1st down. And imagine, I mean, we told you about the text messages he got saying it's Iowa week after the Maryland win last week. I mean, imagine these guys, they bleed purple, and all they're thinking about is the next Northwestern game, and one of their best buddies is the head coach now. They can give him all kinds of flack.
Yeah, they know his number, and they're not afraid to use it.
1st down, Northwestern on its first drive of quarter number 4. Jackson veering up the middle.
But what that 94 episode was, remember, that was the 21st straight loss to Iowa. And it really, looking back, was kind of the capitulation point. It was the bottom of the barrel, and this program has gone in a different direction really since that time to a large extent.
Clayton Thorson across the 45, 1st down into plus territory. Amani Hooker with the stop. And the Wildcats continue to move the ball well against Iowa.
Timely runs by Clayton Thorson, and we talked about that. That's not who Nate Stanley is, but to a large extent, it is who Clayton Thorson is, and it's in a timely sense. And that was a good look at it on that play.
Fake the draw. Thorson to throw. Sideline Skoranek to the 25. It's a 1st down, Wildcats. Jackson clipped him, gain of 18.
We've seen Northwestern run this play a few times where they pitch it to Jackson. This time it was a play action off of that. The shot play down the middle on a seam route was covered well, but Skoranek was the outlet receiver, and Thorson found him out on the outside of the field.
Northwestern spreads the ball around, this time Jackson, and he was shocked by how hard it was thrown at the 24.
As a quarterback, if you throw it that hard outside the frame to a running back or tight end, it typically doesn't end well. And on the face mask is one of those places. You have to be particular with ball placement to running backs.
Now Larkin comes in and he gets spun around at the 19. Anthony Nelson, the sophomore. So 3rd down and decent for Northwestern.
And Larkin has been a decent changeup as we see Jackson coming back in, but actually Jackson is still out and Larkin's in there, but a good changeup, and he's more straightforward to the point of attack. Maybe not as elusive, but he's physical at the point of attack nonetheless.
Remember, Northwestern does like its kicking game with the freshman Kubander, who made 3 last week against Maryland. Larkin looking for that 1st down line, and he's going to be about a yard short, leaving the wheels turning in the mind of Pat Fitzgerald. What do you do here?
Well, if you like Kubander, like you said, you throw him out there and you go ahead in this game, but I don't see that happening.
Not an Iowa week.
This is Iowa week, you're right. We keep our offense out there and try to gain 3/4 of a yard.
At center. 5th time they're going for it on 4th down today. Pile moves. Thorson driving it, and the spot looks like he's got it both sides. Iowa's got the ball. Anthony Nelson came running out of the pile with the football.
Ruling on the field as the runner's forward progress was stopped beyond the line to gain. First down, Northwestern.
And you're not going to get a challenge out of that puppy. First down, Wildcats. On first down for Clayton Thorson, the junior out of Wheaton. Not far from here in Evanston. Jackson flowing right. Hit first by Neiman, and second down. Neiman and Bauer have had to take up the slack for the injured Josie Jewell, who's not played today.
And both of them have played well, along with Kevin Ward. And Kevin Ward is that outside linebacker. Ben Neiman moves inside to where Josie Jewell typically plays. And then the pressure is that Ward has to play out on the slot a lot against a quick receiver.
That's where he is now at the top of your screen. Thorson the pitch that way to Jackson. Thought about cutting inside and took a shoulder blade from Amani Hooker. Third down on the way.
And that's where you see Iowa defensively is Mick McCall, the offensive coordinator for Northwestern, said they're the most fundamentally sound defense that will play all year. And you see it there. They're spread out. They still have their base personnel in, 3 linebackers. They stay home, they keep their leverage, and they tackle well.
Wilson, Nagel, and Skoranek, the wide receivers. Jackson offset to the right. Thorson turns his back and gets hit and dropped. Anthony Nelson, the Iowa sack leader, got in there, and it's fourth down.
Well, Northwestern ran a bunch formation to the wide side of the field, in this case to the right side, but a zone defense on the back end, deep in the red zone for Iowa, just absolutely covered everything that Thornton was looking at. And then before long, the pressure for Iowa is going to get to you. They don't really have any twitchy guys that get to the passer quickly, but they get great pocket push, and you saw it right there out of Nelson.
Charlie Kubander has made 6 straight field goals. This from 30 for Kubander. It is good. Northwestern has its first lead of the game. It comes in the fourth quarter.
Timeout.
Yeah, it's going to change things facility-wise here at Northwestern. There isn't any doubt about that.
For a team that's already had some improved recruiting, according to ESPN rankings, out of the top 60 even just 4 years ago, and building that here in Evanston under Pat Fitzgerald. Otto drives through it. Ivory Kelly Martin, the return for Iowa, trailing for the first time, and Kelly Martin across the 30. As we see what Chris Cotter has.
Iowa starts the drive first and 10, and it's up 32.
So we've had Johnny on the spot. That's Nooney on the spot for Florida State.
I'm with you.
Thanks.
I knew you would go somewhere right in there.
First down for Iowa. 10-7 your score for Northwestern, trying to win its second straight against the Hawkeyes. That ball's tipped in the air, a helium ball batted away. Nate Hall on the deflection for the Wildcats, and then the scramble was on.
And Nick Easley makes a tremendous heads-up play by becoming basically a volleyball player. That ball gets batted up in the air, and then Easley is going to swat it down as he turns into a defender. There were about 7 Wildcats that thought they had a chance, and Easley did the wise thing and got rid of it.
Hawkinson, the tight end, in motion. Wadley on second down. And that's going to put Iowa behind the sticks. Third down and 9 for the Hawkeyes, for an offense not built for that.
Yeah, and here we go again. First down passing, incomplete. leads to second down run that's defended well by Northwestern's defense. And we're third in a pass down again. It'll be interesting to see if Northwestern decides to get after Nate Stanley right here.
Brian Ferentz, the new play caller, says he remembers the bad ones and has more difficulty remembering the good ones. We'll see which one this is. Stanley, the sophomore, time to throw, and intercepted. J.R. Pace, the freshman for Northwestern. Looked like miscommunication. The receiver got hung up, and Northwestern with a pick of Stanley, just his third of the year.
Montre Hardage was the one on the coverage, and he had great press coverage at the line of scrimmage, and then the safety, J.R. Pace, comes over the top. The intended receiver was Smith Marset, and he simply didn't get into his route. Great press work at the line of scrimmage by Hardage, didn't allow Smith Marset to even get into his route. And then the safety has the easy part. J.R. Pace just comes over the top and plucks it out of the air.
Boy, a rare turnover for Nate Stanley. And now Thorson to throw on first down. Incomplete. Boy, you've got the leading rusher in program history, Jackson, and they throw it on first down after the turnover.
Yeah, that's a great point. I think this is a grinded out time, I think, Jason, is what you're referring to. 7 minutes and you come out on first down and throw. I know there's tendency breakers in there, but right now it's about running clock if you're Northwestern.
Play action. Thorson with some soft shoe to get by the defense for a couple of yards, third and long, but the press coverage came up big.
Yeah, press coverage on the outside by 24 Hardage, and the youngster, the true freshman Smith Marset, just simply doesn't get off the line of scrimmage. This was dead from the beginning, and Nate Stanley was the component in there that needed to recognize this. Press coverage prevents my route from getting off on time. I have to go elsewhere.
2 out of 13 for Northwestern on third down today, and that has been Iowa's defense coming up big. Jackson on the run, and maybe, just maybe, Northwestern's going to go for this with that play call.
That certainly had the look of a two-down type of play call, didn't it?
Kubander with the make to give him the lead, but he will not show his face on this play. 4th down and 5 for Northwestern.
I think this is a facade. I don't think that Northwestern is going to go for it right here.
They've done it 5 times today. They're 3 out of 5. 21 times this season. That's 3 times a game on 4th down. They will snap it. Thorson to throw, incomplete, dropped by Macon Wilson, but a flag has come in.
I think Wilson may be called for pass interference on the push-off. Tried to create separation on that curl route, and Wilson may be the offender right here.
Pass interference. Offense number 15. That penalty's declined. Result of the play, first down Iowa. Timeout.
Pat Fitzgerald rolls the dice. Iowa takes advantage, getting the ball back down. Iowa ball, 5.5 to go. Akram Wadley for not much. 2nd and long, Chris Button.
Iowa offense trying to find whatever energy they have left on the sidelines. Left tackle Boone Myers came over to his offensive lineman and he said, guys, it looks like we're sleeping out there. We have to wake up now.
Yeah, now would be the time, right? And that offensive line is really the table setter for this offense. They have to get a push, but they're banged up. Boone Myers is one of those guys. He hasn't really been able to get a lot of minutes because he's had a high ankle. They could use his depth right now.
Stanley nearly picked off. Vandenberg was the target. It was Godwin Igwebuike who went streaming in front of that ball, the musician and safety alike. Third down.
Igwebuike got a great jump. He was sitting in his zone, eyes on the quarterback. The quarterback's depth of drop ties in with the depth of the receiver. Short drop by quarterback, short route by receiver, and the defender jumped it on that one.
Third down and long for Iowa. Nate Stanley over the middle, and he has the tight end Hawkinson for a first down, Iowa.
Pretty straightforward concept. Hawkinson finds the void in the zone in coverage that Northwestern had right there, and the defenders on either side didn't communicate well. You're supposed to squeeze it down when you have a route in your neighborhood.
Wadley running behind a different fullback than he started the game with. Kulik out. Brady Ross has come in with an injury to Kulik, and Wadley's been bottled up by Northwestern.
And that actually is a great point and may have a lot to do with why this running game just simply isn't getting on track. Kulik is that fullback battering ram, and they lost him early, and he has that experience of kind of sorting things out in that run game, and it has been less effective since Kulik left the game.
Second down, Stanley just 3 for 8 this half. He has Smith Marset at the fringe to the 48. So third down for Iowa, and with the way the time's moving, this may be their final drive. You never know.
Yeah, I think you could be right, and I would think that Iowa may get Stanley on the move once again, like he did on that play. This time moving to the right, which would be the wide side of the field, but a similar concept. They have twins to that side right now.
It's Vandenberg and Easley. Fant, the tight end, at the left side of the formation with Hawkinson. Stanley to throw to Noah Fant, who had the earlier touchdown. This is a first down, and the Hawkeyes continue forth.
That was the exact same route as the earlier touchdown. It's called a stick route, and Fant is the tight end to the bottom of the screen, just runs a hook route, and then the fullback uncovers him by running to the flat outside. Fant was wide open on that one, as he was the earlier touchdown.
Remember, as we move closer to the end, Miguel Racinos has missed a field goal already today for Iowa. Stanley drops it off to Wadley out of the backfield, dancing out of bounds, and Akram Wadley with some acrobatics to the 35.
Jason, I harken back to the Iowa State game. It went into overtime, a great rivalry game, and what Kurt Ferentz told us is Nate Stanley really earned the respect of his team in that game. Everybody wanted to see if he could remain poised and calm, which is his natural demeanor in an environment like Ames, Iowa, and he did just that. He might have to do it again right here.
This one is wide and incomplete. You know he'd like to do it here. Yes, he's from Wisconsin, but he grew up a Cubs and Bears fan. So here on the banks of Lake Michigan, Nate Stanley trying to get his team in his favorite team's backyard. The sting of the Cubs loss may wear off as time goes on.
Wow. Was that a dig of the spur or what?
Second down for Iowa. Akram Wadley shimmying through the line, and this is going to be third down and short for the Hawkeyes. Igwebuike and Hall collaborated on the tackle.
On this drive, Jason, we talked about the run game for Iowa has been bottled up, but a handful of successful passes has loosened up the line of scrimmage a little bit. And so where does Brian Ferentz go as an old offensive lineman, now play caller for the Hawkeyes? He goes right back to Wadley in that zone run.
3rd and 1 for Iowa at the edge of field goal range. Akram Wadley seeking the line to gain, driven back, and it depends on the spot. Well, the linesman came in from the bottom of your screen, showing a little bit short. We'll see where the ball ends up. Walsh made the tackle, filling the gap. And if this is short, what do you do? It's a 3-point game, Kel.
It's a 3-point game.
Please just set the game clock to 1:35.
Kurt
1:35, please.
has little to no trust in his kick game. Coming out at halftime, it was actually Keith Duncan that was doing all of the kicking as if he was warming up. Miguel Recinos may have gotten the hook. If they want to kick a field goal right here, it may be Keith Duncan. We're talking about 6 inches. I think you sneak the football and continue to drive it, considering that we don't trust our kickers.
Recinos earlier, he came in having a fairly strong season, but preseason was really rough. Kirk Ferentz didn't know how the kicking game would be. Pat Fitzgerald was pleased. And they are going to stop play in order for further review. Every play is looked at upstairs. This one will go to the stoppage. And again, you need indisputable video evidence to overturn a spot that's this close. It's going to be tough.
And that's hard to find in a scrum like a short down yardage run typically is. I mean, there's several thousand pounds in that pile, but where's the ball before Wadley goes down? And that certainly got close, but we're talking about the standard being indisputable video evidence, and that line is not official. I don't see anything there that is going to change anything. And I think Kurt Ferentz is going to get his big quarterback underneath the center at 6'5", 235 and sneak the football here if they don't change anything and can try to convert and move the chains.
You do?
Yeah, I think so.
After further review, the ruling on the field stands. 4th down.
I mean, who would you roll out there to kick a field goal at this point in time? You don't really feel good about either of the, and the big quarterback can get 6 inches.
Iowa led 7-0 at halftime. Northwestern has pitched a second-half shutout. Wadley, the tailback. And movement at the line by Iowa. Oh, my! Who will it be against?
False start. Wow. Offense. 5-yard penalty. Remains 4th down.
Catastrophic.
Now they're going to kick, maybe. Wirfs in the right side of the line. Miguel Recinos' long this year is 44. This is 48. He missed earlier from 37. The former walk-on, Recinos, to tie. It is good! Recinos tied at 10.
Good for that young man. That took some guts to get out there and hit it hard and hit it clean and right down Broadway. His last attempt, the miss earlier, couldn't have been worse. And I saw coming out at halftime, it was actually Keith Duncan that was doing the kicking in warm-ups. I thought Miguel Recinos had gotten the hook by Kurt Ferentz. And the young man, former walk-on, comes out and hits it right down Main Street. That is really, really good stuff. Are you ready for overtime?
Oh, there's still 90 seconds left, Mr.
90
Stauffer.
seconds and a couple of timeouts by the Wildcats. No question about it.
Pat Fitzgerald told us, look, it's either down to the final play or a blowout. Well, I know what one we've got today.
Indeed.
Recinos, the kick. And Northwestern will start at the 25. Time for today's Performance Spotlight, brought to you by Dickies. With Josie Jewell out, the other two guys have picked up the slack.
Ben Needham, Bo Bauer, you could even throw Kevin Ward into there, and you're exactly right. The cornerstone of Iowa defensively is that linebacking level. The bell cow is Josie Jewell. Couldn't play today, and others picked up the slack.
Each team with 2 timeouts.
They may need to hide Josie Jewell's helmet because I think he's fixing to run out there right now.
Thorson to the controls with Justin Jackson. That was Bo Bauer, one of those 2 linebackers with the tackle. Second down, Wildcats. Clock moving, under 120.
And the Wildcats looked better here in the second half with a little bit of pace, and right now they're taking the air out of the ball. Quite interesting. Little Boo Bird starting to show up, wondering what their offense here in Evanston is doing.
Down to a minute. That's one play, 30+ seconds. Are they playing for overtime?
It appears that way.
Wow.
That
2
is
timeouts.
Incredibly strange.
Why do you think? Why do you think you would do that?
I can't come up with an answer. Not a good one anyway.
Do you feel like you have the better short field offense?
I feel like you have to trust your veteran quarterback and an offense that has a minute 30 left and 2 timeouts. I mean, that's prototypical 2-minute offense. If your offense has a pulse, you let them roll in that situation. Highly surprising by Pat Fitzgerald. I love everything about the guy, but I do not get this.
Jackson changing directions, and he's got the first down, but that's not going to matter because the fourth quarter has just elapsed.
Okay, men, welcome to extra period. Each team gets 1 timeout. They don't carry over. If you win the toss, you may choose to go on offense first, defense first, or choose the end of the field on which you would like to play. Okay? Same coin as before. Iowa, it's your call. Heads. Calls heads. It is heads. Iowa, you won the toss. Defense. Iowa wins the toss and likes to go on defense first.
I'll play down there.
All right, there you go. Go ahead and bring your backs around this side here. Go this way. This way. Nope.
So Northwestern, after giving away the final drive of the fourth quarter, gets the ball back again, and here are the
First down,
overtime
Northwestern
rules.
at
You got
that
to
end of
go
the
for
field.
2
Good luck, man.
as of the third overtime. 1 possession from the 25-yard line per overtime until the winner's decided. You saw the coin toss and only the play clock here. But mentioned Northwestern hasn't played close games this season. Iowa certainly has. The Iowa Hawkeyes folks certainly remember the Iowa State game. Smith Marset, the game-winning touchdown, and they also remember the one they don't want to remember, which is the Penn State finish on the game-ending touchdown, 21-19. So the Hawkeyes are used to it. The Wildcats, at least this version, are not. How much value do you put in that?
The value I place in it is with Nate Stanley. I think Nate Stanley was terrific at the end of both of those games that we just saw highlights of, and so your quarterback needs to play well today.
Where's Thorson's confidence after the keys got taken from him?
That's an interesting question, and I think Thorson is thrown into coverage too many times maybe for Pat Fitzgerald's comfort zone on that last drive. With a minute 30 left, 2 timeouts, and he pulled the plug on his offense.
Jackson the back, Thorson to run with a stiff arm that doesn't do anything on Bauer. About a yard for Thorson, second down and long.
Hard to get Iowa's linebackers out of position, whether Josie Jewell is playing or not. Bo Bauer on that play, Ben Needham on plenty of plays. Kevin Ward is going to be in there as well as he is over the slot to the top of the field. That level is the strength of Iowa's defense.
Opening possession of overtime, Northwestern. Thorson, the junior, on second down. Throws it down into the turf.
Could be intentional grounding. That was to no one.
Ball reached the line of
Wow.
scrimmage. Incomplete pass, third down.
Nelson was breathing down on him.
And Nelson set the edge of the pocket, and he's the one that hit the quarterback under to the chin strap. I question whether Thorson indeed was outside the pocket.
Iowa makes major changes. A.J. Epinesa, the third down pass rusher, is on. This would be a long field goal for Kubander. Thorson to throw, a little bit high. Jackson saves the day. First down and more for Jackson down to the 1-yard line. Some ballet from Justin Jackson for 23 yards.
Find a way to get the ball to your best player in crunch time. It's that simple. And for Northwestern offensively, it's Justin Jackson. It has been for a long time here in Evanston, and it was on that play.
The all-time leading rusher in Northwestern history has him rapping on the door. Jackson on the toss. Jackson is down at the half-yard line.
Yeah, I'm not so sure about this. It seemed to me Jackson needs to extend right there, but it's where the ball is when something other than the foot or the hand goes down.
Couple more cracks at it for Thorson and Northwestern. He's jockeying forward, trying to get in. Touchdown, Northwestern. Clayton Thorson. Jackson may have helped him on that one too, pushing him in.
The Bush push is legal now, and Jackson gets a push there, but it was this play. The high throw to a running back. Jackson has great hands, and then he knows what to do with it when he gets the ball in his hands. And 21, Jackson comes to the aid of his quarterback, Clayton Thorson, and that might have been the difference maker on that short quarterback sneak.
They knew each other growing up. They are close friends here at Northwestern. And a little assistance from 21 to 18 for a Northwestern lead. Kubander. And Northwestern makes it 17-10. So look, Pat Fitzgerald said, I don't want my offense with a long field. But we said maybe it's the short field offense he feels terribly comfortable with. Who knows? Right now, it's a decision that has borne some fruit.
Some fruit until Iowa gets the ball, and we'll see the outcome of this overtime and maybe more of them. But the bottom line is Pat Fitzgerald knows his team better than anyone else knows his team, and he was the one guy that could make that decision. He made it, and right now his offense paid dividends in this first go at it in overtime.
But remember, Nate Stanley is well beyond his years at quarterback for Iowa. He's been tremendous in the fourth quarter and overtime this year. He trails now, and he's got Wadley behind him. Akram Wadley to the short side of the field. He's met by Kyle Cairo, the senior safety. But here are the numbers on Nate Stanley late in games.
Well, Kurt Ferentz said they recruited a winner first and foremost, and you can see right there, as the game goes along, winning games and the fashion in which you have to do that sets in, and Nate Stanley has been up to the task.
Easley in motion. Wadley the tailback, second down. Stanley rolling to his right. Stanley unloads, incomplete. Easley was covered, third down.
Roll the quarterback, and it was a smash route. You have a receiver in the flat. You had Easley going to the corner. Very well covered by Northwestern defensively.
It was Godwin Igwebuike with the coverage on Easley. Remember, Stanley threw just his third interception of the season in the second half today. Two-down territory. So they run with Wadley, and here is the game with 4th down and 3 on the horizon.
Remember, in two clutch situations earlier in this game, we saw Noah Fant on the stick route. If there's a formation to the top side and Noah Fant is by himself, the tight end, he may be the primary receiver on this play. He's down at the bottom, the tight end position currently.
And a timeout coming for Northwestern, and Pat Fitzgerald, who moments ago looked like he could get in the game right
Northwestern
now.
has called their only timeout of this overtime period.
And this is the
timeout.
You call timeout and then you talk about it. And likely I will come back different, which is a win for Northwestern. That's exactly what you want them to do. Iowa has to come out in their best formation, their best play. If you're Northwestern defensively, do something to make them change what their best is.
Northwestern trying to win its second straight against Iowa in this series, a series that the Hawkeyes have dominated thanks to a 21-game win streak from the 70s to the 90s. First game was back in 1897. The 2017 version comes down to this moment. Wadley is the back. Fant still at the bottom of the formation with the 2 wide on the same side. 4th down. Stanley dropped. They had the stick route and it didn't connect. Northwestern wins. Fant had a touchdown on this very pass route.
A touchdown on this route and a huge completion on 4th down on this route, and it was wide open just like it was the previous 2 times, and Fant looked up looking to run with it before he secured the catch. Game over.
You have to believe that the text messages are flying into Pat Fitzgerald's phone as Nate Stanley nearly took the Hawkeyes for the game-tying score. Northwestern a winner in overtime.
What a great Big Ten game.
Let's go downstairs and Chris Button.
Coach Fitzgerald, talk me through the end of regulation. What went through the decision to play for overtime?
Well, look at your hair. The wind. I mean, the wind was blowing. You know, I just played field position. I figured, you know what? They have been great all day on defense. So have we. Let's go play a 25-yard game.
Your defense stepped up in the second half. What they proved to you today?
Well, they proved to me all year that they're tough, they're resilient. Hats off to Iowa. I mean, Kirk, I've got so much respect for that program. Big win for us, and now we got to heal up and get ready for another great opponent next week.
And a respect for this rivalry. You told me about the alumni text that you get as a win. What does this mean for the program and the rivalry?
It means go Cats. That's what it means. So Coach Barnett's watching. Go Cats. Thanks a lot. Go Cats.